Inc. 5. We are primarily into women's footwear. We are a hardcore physical brick-and-mortar store. We roughly run around 75 standalone stores plus 350 shop-in-shop across all the large format shoppers, lifestyle, central, the centro, I mean everywhere, all the large format. On online space, we do roughly around 12% of the revenue what we do. I mean, mainly the reason would be returns. We lead the category when it comes to Myntra, when it comes to organized fashion brands, not the private label, white label what they call. So we lead the category in the ranking report, whatever you call them. Across all the panels, we also have a private label for Ajio that's called 5 by 5. That's the number one brand for them. Mainly, I mean, this is all ladies footwear I'm talking about. So we lead the category there also. So in this trade for 20-25 years, the brand is old. Since inception, since journey has been like a supplier to I sit on the board with the family. But again, it's learning process. I mean, whenever I go to, people call me at the D2Cs and the all worlds. I mean, such stories. I mean, when he had said 100 crores, I was like, I mean, what I have done till now. You know? I mean, it's a fantastic thing to meet this kind of a people where it's the new age business, where a brand which is 20-25-year-old still wants to learn from you people mainly. And it's always good to be on a round table when various parts of people there and we share thoughts about it. And yes, logistics, reverse logistics is the pain. Trust me, it's the pain. That's all. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Akhil Srivastava. I take care of the US plus size brand. That is a premium lingerie brand. So it's a global brand based in Los Angeles. In India, 4.5 years back, I bring this brand in India. So initially I wanted to start when I was in a fashion student in Indiaretailing. So my project was I wanted to do something in a plus size for especially in the innerwear market, because the market is completely untouched and it is not completely captured. It's just fully unorganized, and this market requires really good education for the women, because this is a complete measurement and the size and health related. But somehow it's a destiny. I bring this brand through foreign direct investment in India, and this brand is almost 4.5 years old in India. Initially that brand, because this market plus size market is very niche and very specific segment, so very carefully we design a business strategy. And because this is a complete size-based business, so in India right now, if you look at the lingerie market, all the respective players are there, even the private label, all the brands and everything. But if you look at most of the brands, every brands, they have on their certain target and they are targeting our entire market. We are targeting like when they stop the selling sizes, so we start selling the sizes. So like our cup size is from D to K, so it means we are handling almost 96 sizes as a lingerie market. And every woman have every 6 months their size will be changed. So that's the another education part. So initially our concept was to educate the women, empower the women how to wear, how to care and how to wash. That is really very important for in terms of innerwear market. Right now, entire last 4.5 years, we did business on the online marketplace and the D2C option because of the couple of reasons. One is the taboo, second the plus size market. So we have to connect to the consumer through the social media, because that is a very good platform where the women are very much comfortable to share their own journey and their own pain points. Now going this financial year, we are planning to come in an offline market soon with the shopping shop format and some reviews also. The brand, once again I'm telling you in terms of numbers and all, yes, it's a brand is new and a very premium brand. So the online space, if I can say, so there is 3 features with this brand right now, what we achieve in the market. So when I say it's a Parfait brand, so if you go to Myntra any place and when you remove Parfait option in filter, so the page will be empty because there is no other any brand selling this size. So page will be empty. This is of course, as a monopoly, we are still in the market and nobody is there. Second, yes, our business is completely based on the online right now. So of course, I agree with sir and all these colleagues. Return is really for us. We are not an e-commerce player. We are not online expert. We are the brand, and our DNA is lingerie. So reducing the cost in terms of return, or how to reduce the return, especially in my business where the size is the major challenge, because the different women have different size, skin and reason. So yes, I am also here to learn something how to have control the return and a certain more logistic cost. That's all. Thank you.
I am Amit Sarda. I run a brand called Soulflower. We are a farm-to-face brand. We grow our own ingredients, we use it in our product and help people to have a good and glowing skin and good hair. That is what we do primarily. We are still a very young brand. 22 years has been my journey with this brand. And so I know you told me, please, 20 years is old, but I think 22 years is still young. So yeah, I believe that the brand maturity should be 150 years plus. That's what I see. And primarily our market focus is Asia, which includes India, UAE, Saudi. These are our three large markets. Definitely we are in US, Japan, Singapore, lots of those markets, but Asian skin and Asian hair is our focus area. That's what we do. With the majority of business coming from online, but we are more of a B2B2C, which is primarily to selling to as a vendor to Amazon, Reliance, everybody. And presently our own D2C share is a very small share. Definitely focus on that, but not the majority of our business. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Singh. I was given an opportunity to launch Samsonite in India through the retail channel. And when I started, that was the time when the retail was not really very well organized. There were hardly any malls, hardly there were any department stores. And then we started with High Street in a very stubborn manner. It was not really easy start. But the competition, what we were facing, very stiff. In terms of pricing, in terms of aggressiveness, everywhere they used to score higher than us. Advertising, being a brand, you have limited scope to advertise. And therefore, every front we were losing the score. But gradually, persistent approach, and we kept working. Over a period of last 18 years of working, we reached to a stage that when I joined the company, the turnover was 28 crore. Today they have crossed the mark of 1800 crore. So there was a very remarkable change in the customer behavior pattern, as well as the retail formats. They got the platform to get placed well, and many things have helped actually. It's not our contribution. Basically, the market has also come up to a stage whereby we started to connect the hand was meeting the glow perfectly in size. So it is not that great things have been done by us, where everybody is there to do good things and bigger businesses. As far as the online sales is concerned, we actually we don't promote so much. We did so much of hard work in the last 18 years that our entire business has got so well placed through the brick and mortar model that we are not, our vision is not going beyond this. And we are of the two mind that whether should you try and create a business model which is not entirely in your hands, because it's a very flimsy marketplace which can be taken away by anybody and everybody depending upon how he maneuvers the whole thing. But anyway, keeping apart that, everything is important in today's time. So we are present there, but then our focus is only on the models which are tail lines, and we don't want to have it in the store. We want to have the rush out and then bring in new models and new colors. So we utilize the platform of e-commerce to equip those lines. And with that, we are retaining still our main focus, 99% focus on offline. And yet we are selling sizable amount of other products online too. Recently, the turnover through American Tourister, which is a own brand, was about 340 crore online. So without any focus, that's the sales. So if at all we focus it, I don't know where all the sales will go. But we still prefer the way we are managing. Thank you. See, if you're an offline company, and if you're an offline, see the culture of connecting with the customers face to face, first of all makes you modest, because you can't be arrogant. On email, you can tell somebody flatly no, but tell somebody no on the front, I can't. You can't do that. So the customer service, as he said, that we are doing good. Frankly speaking, there have been so much of ifs and buts. Initially, when people used to come, they used to break the lock themselves. They forgot the number. वो बंदा कुछ तो लगा के तोड़ के आएगा और बोलेगा कि यार your lock was not working. And the reason was that he forgot the original number and he tried to push and then broke it. But they expect the company to change it. And we used to be informed. No, if it is not our mistake, then we should not. But over a period of time, we realized, no, that's not right. How many such people are there? We realized there are out of 100,000 bags you sell, these kind of characters are very few. Not too many people do all this kind of things. So then we took a conscious call. Let's accept it. So I'm not talking about those customers. Even the genuine one, if you're traveling to airline, give you back to the airline, they give you back with one leg short. So these kind of ways. Although actually the airline's mistake is they broke your one of the deal. It's not that you have done it, our company has done it. So we have gone a little far from what we could have serviced.
Hi, good afternoon everyone. I'm Karnika and I'm heading the North portfolio for delivery for the D2C brands. Joining here with Anubhav, trying to hear your problems, trying to understand how can we collectively solve the problem of increasing costs on the return front and packaging front, and while maintaining sustainability and all. And I think Anubhav is going to twist around with interesting questions to see where are we doing and what are we doing, what can we do better together.
Hi everyone, Abhijit here. I head the warehousing part for D2C business and also manage the western region. Sorry to gang up you guys with 3 of the delivery guys, but that also shows that we are so keen to hear what you guys have to say from a logistics perspective, and we can go back to the drawing table and try to solve some of the problems that we hear today. So we're quite keen to understand that in your supply chain, what kind of problems that you guys are facing. Some of those we might have solved, but some of those we might have not. We can take those steps to bring those efficiencies. I heard that a lot of returns related problems. We heard some of these problems a couple of years back. We solved some of those, but still there are some of the gaps which are existing in the market. We surely would love to understand those things from you guys, and maybe in time to come we will have a better product to solve that, or maybe we might be having something from those understanding. We can also impart that let's say as a delivery what we are doing, and maybe probably if you guys are not using those things, or maybe in the market what all things are available. So right away what steps that you guys can take, and maybe in future what we can do. So quite excited to hear the session.
Great, thank you everyone. Great bunch of brands over here. I mean, I am associated with many brands. I can recall myself ordering almost on a weekly basis from many of you. Good to be part of this group. I'll take a step back and would want to emphasize on the fact that logistics as a sector has come a long way. I mean, 10 years back, logistics was just a box in, box out kind of a movement. The warehousing, the supplier movements, the distribution, it used to be limited to a very, very small set of people, folks, which used to be associated with logistics. I mean, if you think 10 years ago, setting up an e-commerce business, that was a different challenge altogether. I mean, you need to have a different e-commerce warehouse compared to your traditional warehouse. you need to have a different channel altogether compared to your channel, your distribution channel, like for the likes of Samsonite, like you said, or Ink5 for that matter. But now, I mean, the synergies have turned around in such a way that logistics form a very, very core part of the entire ecosystem, of the entire product life cycle with each one of you, right? Starting from order management to warehouse management to transportation to returns, as we heard from many of you, and then on top of it, customer experience. I mean, once there is an order which gets placed, the marketeer, the experience, everything lies with the hand of someone like us or other LSPs which you would be working with. So it's not only a back-end kind of a vertical now logistics, it's also forming a very, very strong core front-end part of the entire journey that you all have been facing, right? So on top of it, there are obviously costs which are associated with the logistics. So there are costs in each and every element. So starting from warehouse to transportation to returns, as we said. So just wanted to throw a question on this table. Apart from the returns feedback that I've been hearing from many of you over here, what other element do you think as a cost is a major cost lever in your entire supply chain journey, which can be picked up as a discussion over here? Would want to hear from a couple of you so that we can turn around our discussion around that, what all we are doing or what all we are seeing in the industry happening, so that we can come to a fair conclusion by the time we end this discussion. So any point of view from a cost point of view that you think, apart from the returns piece, which many of you have already stated, that we need to work upon or we need to focus during our discussion. So anyone of you, I mean, starting from
No, so Anubhav, I think for us, the problem was that a lot of our products came under the volumetric category, where product cost might be like 300 or 400 rupees or lesser, because the products start MRPing from 50 rupees, and we are catering to that segment of India, not just the niche of India or the 1%, maybe the top 3, 4, 5%. So the volumetric became a huge problem. So the way we tried to solve it 2 years back is कि we did a deal with कि आप grams के हिसाब से मत लो हमसे, आप percentage fix कर लो, which is usually an average out of the shipments of bulk orders versus and some B2B orders, and B2B orders in the sense B2C orders which are in bulk, and then some standalone orders where we charge a small shipping price. So the percentage helped us average on invoice value. On invoice value helped us average out our costs when it came to shipping all this to the customer, and that really brought down our cost from 15 to 16% per shipment, which is very high for most brands. Like for our category it's very normal, but for most brands it's very high. So वो 15-16% से सीधा 5-6% पे आ गया. So that problems, and I think that's still evolution, like that's still evolving, because the big companies like Delhivery, but the other aggregators as well, who are looking to get into the space. But for us, having a sustainable, so we've been working with a delivery partner for the last 3 years, and the only reason is because we've been able to forge such deals where it's a win-win. For they are averaging it out and we are fixing our cost. We don't have to get into dispute resolutions, because if I have to pay 15-20% for delivery, obviously our team sometimes misses on some. उनको लगता है weight 500 ग्राम है, but वो 1 kg में चला जाता है, 1 kg लगता है वो 2 kg में होता है. So some of these challenges have plagued our category in general, which is home care, and where there is no fixed this thing, and every product का weight X है and cost X है, but उसका logistics is 2x or 3x, and that has been a problem for us for a very long time, and it still continues in some way or the other.
I think weight as a category has been a challenge for many categories over here. I mean, as I see from a footwear point of view, also weight, volumetric weight has been a big challenge, because we work with. No, but from a
एक कार्टन करोगे मिल जाएगी 20 जोड़ी, क्योंकि बॉक्स everything will be there, right? But without box I can't pack it, right? So that box is this big. उसके अंदर 6 नंबर भी जाएगी, my MRP is same, right? So 6 नंबर जाए या 12 नंबर जाए, my MRP is not going to change for that size, weight बढ़ जाएगा. So volumetric is a problem, but that's okay. I mean, we don't have so much of hassle. But D2C, when we do our online, then it is a hassle. So my road network, rail network, whatever network what we do, we don't. We don't have any complaints. I mean, the longest of the route we have got Asansol, Lingerie. Our local partner connects phenomenally well. 36 घंटे में कलकत्ता के आगे किधर भी पहुंचा देंगे. So we'll put in a train, everything, and everything is taken care of. I mean, there is no shortage, no breakage, nothing of that sort. So that is not a challenge. But yes, again, whenever there is a spike in the petrol or a diesel, then he'll come back to us.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we've got freeze agreements with them because the volume is high. So, a truck usually is minimum what we get out of this warehouse. Local, we've got 10 stores in Bombay, so we have the local partners. So my boys at the warehouse are too smart to manage that. अगर छोटा सा तो send, अगर linking road delivery देना है, urgent 200 जोड़ी है, तो we'll get a porter 300-400 रुपए में भेज देता है. So average on 5-6 टक्के पे बैठ जाता है.
So as a solution, I mean, this we've been hearing from almost all D2C brands across all categories, whether it is apparels category. Yours is a very, very niche category, obviously. I had already put in a question which I wanted to discuss with you from a weight point of view, because your ASP being low and your volumetric being very high. So as a solution, what we've been working across with different categories is obviously because the box sizes or the box dimensions, they do not change very frequently, right? So they tend to remain same until and unless you tend to revamp your entire STU portfolio, which would happen once in a year or very, very infrequent, right? So what we tend to do is we tend to freeze the weights by doing obviously all the audits and everything. My guy goes to your warehouse, does the audit, your guys come to my warehouse, do all the weight check, volumetric check, sorter weights and everything, they are done, and we come to a conclusion that yes, these are the weights which can be fixed, because so that there are no variations and there are no challenges in terms of billing related to weights. So any other point of view, because we have people from apparel industry as well, we have people from lingerie industry, from luggage industry.
CFT, or you can see the size of the package. Second is this variable thing, which is a challenge, which does not become a challenge if you go to a player like Beco, where you freeze a price, let's say for a D2C shipment. But let's say when I come to you directly or anywhere, you have those variables, everybody does that. FedEx used to do that now, which is the part of yours, which becomes a very big challenge, because at the end of the day, when we are looking at a cost, let's say I have to move something by air of a 500 gram from Mumbai to Delhi. Let's say I pay like some 42 odd rupees to Blue Dart today, all inclusive. Now, the thing is, when I talk to Blue Dart directly, they will tell me, yes, the price is 36 plus blah 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 blah, it keeps on changing every month and month. I think that where it becomes a very big challenge. Second is this CFT thing, which is a big challenge. For example, our CFT on B2B2C is a 6 rupees CFT, whereas for me it is generally 5 kgs, which is which can go. So I think these are two challenges which are very big, where the reconciliation becomes a challenge. Even when you do weight freezing, so let's say if I do weight freezing with delivery, the chance is I will still have some challenges where some shipment has gone wrong, or some in e-commerce if some figure has gone wrong. Just to give you an example, with Blue Dart we had a challenge some time back where we got a bill of one shipment of 1,40,000 rupees, and we realized why is this so? The 1 kg had become 1000 kg. It's very simple, right? So it's so mechanized, everything is so mechanized, and that was a mistake from our backend in e-commerce, and it went to them and they also picked up that rate. That was a small parcel, but 1,40,000. So those kind of challenges are a recurring challenge which keeps on coming. So how do you solve this? How do you look at it? From your perspective, how you can help brands to not to get into this kind of trouble?
So as I said, from a weight point of view, the exercise that we've been doing, like I've already mentioned, is the weight freeze exercise. While there are human errors, there are people who are doing billing at the back end, there are challenges which you do see from a unicommerce point of view, but I would say the agility with which teams like Delhivery or any other partner, maybe Blue Dart or Beco, would be working on this, because the realization that this is a wrong weight and this has led to a 1,40,000 kind of a bill, which is a highly inflated bill for you. that realization need to come immediately. Errors, it cannot be a Six Sigma kind of a working where there are zero errors. While they do happen with a lot of brands, there are one or two fringe cases which do come up. So that realization and working on that realization and doing all those reconciliations, maybe those are the processes that we tend to follow very, very closely, because just as a matter of fact, what cycle we follow for if we are sending a bill to you, for example, a May bill by 5th or June, then the expectation is that in case there are any reconciliation challenges that you face, you send it back to us within 10 days. Then my team, the robustness is such that my team tend to work for another 5-7 days, do their working, and if there are any errors from our end, we tend to close all the exceptions within the same month. So that by the time your credit period gets over, by the time your payments are overdue, there are relatively minimal weight related challenges at least which are pending, and because of which there are exactly, like I said, we expect yes. So my dispute resolution time is 5 working days, right? So that's the timeline, that's the stringent timeline which we work with. Obviously, like if I send something back to you, there would be still challenges from your end, there would be non-acceptance from our end as well. We might not be accepting 100% of those challenges. So we tend to ensure that we send it back to you by maybe 21st or 22nd of the month, so that if there are any to and fro discussions that need to happen, those are closed within the same calendar month. So that's the effort that we try and put in. As I said, obviously there are spillovers, there are delays from the other side as well, and because humans are involved, so there can be delays, couple of day delays from our side as well. But the intent, the endeavor move is that the disputes are over within the same month. Because largely most of you would be working at a 30 to 45 days kind of credit period in this D2C domain, right? So by the time your payments are overdue, you are not left with any disputes, because of which we say that you hold this dispute and then make the payment, or you say that first dispute close karo, then only we'll make those payments. So all those things are very, very common. I mean, we all face that, or we all are party to that while we are working. So that's the endeavor which we work.
So we've been working with Delhivery directly now. Before this we were working with aggregators, but what we feel as a firm, that if you want to optimize the cost which we're talking about, is when we go somewhere, if you are less than 1,000 orders a month, it's good to be with aggregators. The kind of pricing they would give you is good, but when we move beyond 1,000, especially in the 1,000 to 3K range, more than 3,000 orders a month, definitely work directly, not just one player like Delhivery, but we work with many others, right? So that is one way of cost optimization, I think, and we've been working with Delhivery. I think great stuff out there, great tech out there, but mera sawal ye hai, why is your RTO so high as compared to other players? There is no doubt that your tech is good, there's no doubt that the pin code coverage is good. There's no doubt that we have a lot of coverage as far as reverse shipments are concerned, but when it comes to RTO, that service which is available at the tech level, at the level of integration, at the level of maybe your customer support or etc., is not fulfilled at the ground level, where you have the last mile delivery, which ultimately results in a bad user experience. Now why I'm saying this is because I work with a lot of players who are your competitors, and then it comes to the fact that delivery का RTO ज़्यादा है, कभी-कभी इतना ज़्यादा है कि 4 to 5 times ज़्यादा है. So that is my first area of concern, because I believe when we talk about optimization of costs, किसी का logistics cost, for me it's a direct cost, and there's nothing else for me. It's direct last mile delivery which has to go to the customer. It may be around, for like let's say 5% or 6% or 10%, whatever it is, and you try to start pulling it down by 1%, it's eventually going to bring a very, less impact on your actual numbers, on your actual revenue, versus when you directly impact the RTO. So when I bring down my RTO by 1 or 2%, it's a direct impact on my revenue. So what I believe in cost optimization is कि वो RTO कम होना चाहिए, and digging deep into it, going deeper, getting all the automations done. Last mile pe there is definitely a problem. Second concern with logistics always remain is the privacy of data, because we do give our data to, especially in e-com, the customers trust LetsDressUp with the data which they give, and then obviously we definitely give at various levels to the partners. But logistics fraud, so to say, is a known thing which happens maybe in the last mile or maybe somewhere in between. You must be doing it better. But I also want to know what are your takes on it. How do you plan to make a stringent action that particular area, because we have ourselves faced a lot of stuff happening on ground. How do you plan to tackle this so-called privacy of data and the fraud which happens?
This is very tricky. I mean, RTO, as Drishti said, they have a higher RTO with delivery, but it might not be true at an overall level, because we claim to fame that our RTOs are relatively the lowest RTOs in the industry. That's the biggest selling point that we do have, and this is across industries. But nonetheless, I mean, from an RTO point of view, see, RTO is a factor of many input parameters, right? So where are we getting those orders from? Because you are using maybe 4, 5, 6 LSPs in your entire portfolio, right? And you would be allocating certain set of pin codes to delivery, certain set of pin codes to Blue Dart, XYZ, other players, right? So RTO is a very strong factor of where the orders are being allocated to delivery. So that's one thing which I always talk to my partners, to my clients, that whenever we do a benchmarking of RTO, that should be maybe done at a pin code level, not even at a zone wise, but at a pin code level. So there should be an exercise which is done, which we tend to do with all our partners, that if you feel that your RTO with delivery at a particular pin code or a particular set of pin codes is higher, let's do a swapping exercise, maybe that we do the Blue Dart pin codes for next 15 days, and vice versa, Blue Dart does our pin codes for next 15 days, and then let's see that how the RTOs shape up, how the outcome is by doing a swapping kind of an exercise. And there are brands who are using multiple LSPs at the same pin code as well. But I think that's a volume factor as well, because if you reach to a certain volume that you think that at a particular pin code you are receiving so many volumes that one LSP cannot cater to all those volumes, that generally happens at a marketplace level or at a house of brands kind of a level. But through my learning, to everyone's learning, I would say that D2C brands particularly tend to give one pin code to one LSP. So that's one factor, obviously, which we can definitely take it back and work around with you, that how by working on other RTOs where you see working on other pin codes where you see relatively lower RTOs, we can get there. Plus there are a lot of products that have been coming up which are specific to RTOs, right? Like you said, from a tech point of view, it's delivery is over there, but from an RTO point of view, maybe from your point of view it is not there, but specific to RTOs there are a lot of products that we are coming up in the market and we've already launched. From one is the NDR management piece. I don't know whether you've been using that, but NDR management is a very key tool, and communication to the end consignee, to the end customer through the WhatsApp channel. That's one big breakthrough mark which we've been able to launch in the industry. And what happens is, I mean, you might be seeing that kind of a product already there in the market through the aggregators, but someone like an LSP, direct LSP, what impact does delivery bring in over here is that we are able to action on any fake attempt immediately, right? Because from other side, from an aggregator point of view, it's just good to have information that that's a fake attempt which has come up and that's what the customer has reported. But from our point of view, we are immediately able to action on that within the next couple of hours.
You are right that the NDR management system was there with even the aggregators, and it's also there with the right ones. And we also have our own, we use our own WhatsApp number to actually do that, because ultimately the user doesn't know who delivery is, okay? So, but they know that they've ordered something from a brand and they would respond faster, and this is what we have realized, right? Having said that, yes, when it comes to directly integrating, the RTO numbers are reduced as compared to when you work with an aggregator. But again, when I was working with an aggregator, I was working with Ruia and Delhivery both, and when you say we segregate basis the pin codes, right? So we've also done that. I mean, we wouldn't want to unfairly, go and categorize. Not that we don't use your services and all, but there is a stark difference in that. I think it is in the last mile. So I've talked to my customers myself, whom delivery was going to deliver, and that's the last mile thing which actually bothers me most in this process. Nonetheless, yes, the RTO numbers have come down as compared to working with aggregators versus working with you, because you can push and pull data at the same time. That's the real-time integration which happens. That's what we have done, at least at the server level. So that if I give you a comment that this is a fake attempt, or this has not been attempted and you just kind of updated it, we can push information. So that's the biggest lever I have when I work directly.
Absolutely. Plus definitely there are lots of pin codes when you see this kind of fake orders coming in. So any one of those insights, because we keep on getting those kind of insights. In between we had a lot of challenge with So do you give this kind of insights to your brands?
Exactly.
Do you have something? If you could share something on that.
So like I mentioned, there are 4 or 5 top categories which are flourishing rather in the D2C segment. One is the BPC category, the apparel category, the electronics category. So each and every category is different in terms of the RTO percentages or the RTO marks, right? For a apparel category, maybe 10% RTO is something they can live with. But from an electronics category point of view, maybe a 3% or a 4% kind of an RTO is still a very, very high number. Or from a BPC category point of view also, a 6%, 7% kind of an RTO number is a relatively higher number. So we do keep on benchmarking, and our partners, our clients, they do keep on asking that how do we benchmark ourselves. So those numbers are shared, that as your competition, the other person is at a 5% kind of a level and yours is at a 7-8%. So what all can be done? So all those measures, everything that keep on happening. But I want to ask maybe from Mr. Bin. So you mentioned, right, that from an RTO point of view, you are working at a 3% RTO. So we would want to hear your thoughts. I mean, something that's really great to achieve in the entire industry. I mean, even from an LSP point of view or from any brand point of view.
See, the thing is, we are into luxury, right? And we work with both kind of big brands. 2 brands are the Europeans and 2 brands are the American, right? So whenever we work with the kids industry, so whenever we get the order, we always know that there is always if and but with the sizes of the kids, right? So we had started a new thing, like while we get the order. I understand that we do not get the order in bulk because it is luxury. My team, one person from the customer care, they call, right? And we used to ask that what is the brand currently your child is wearing. Suppose someone is wearing Gap, right? And they have ordered Emporio Armani. So Gap is having a different size set than the Emporio Armani because this is Italian and the American. And then we suggest them that no ma'am, this should be the right size for you, right? And the customer do also understand this. And this is how it worked like wonder for us. So initially we started selling the same brands on Tata Click Luxury also. And when we were having at Tata Click Luxury, our RTO was around 18%, right? And when we started this new thing with just a person who is costing us 15,000, 18,000 rupees, we were having a very personalized communication to the clients, as well as the returns were very, very less. So this is how like we started, and then once the communication is started on the WhatsApp, and next time the client, the people do not even prefer to go to the website. The people just ask us that what are the new things, what is happening. So this reduce the cost of customer acquisition as well. So this is how we have started this. I understand this cannot be implement to each and everyone, right? Like
Number of calls you have to make on a single day.
so they are, we are niche segment. We receive hardly 30 orders in a day. Right.
Consumer is also evolved. Consumer he wants to buy.
Yes. Yes.
That's great, but anyway, just 3% is a big climb.
Yes.
You said our RTO was already less than 10%. That's great. But what I have realized talking to my own consumers and understanding is what is the actual reason of reduction in RTO. Customer के पास जल्दी पहुंचती है. Thanks to Amazon, उसने आदत बिगाड़ दी है. They just want everything to be like quick, and if you're not that quick, they're either going to forget you, right, and they're going to send it back. So when you promise something to someone that I'm going to deliver it to you, or I'm going to ship it in one day, and this is going to be the tracking details, and this is the party which is coming. Now, so all of a sudden I have shipped in 24 hours, but now the onus is on the logistics partner to deliver that in the minimum time which is there, right? Now what happens? First attempt में अगर वो deliver हो जाता है, if it gets delivered, that is when the chances of RTO will go down. Why? Now you answer me yourself. You give a guarantee that the first attempt will be made in these many number of hours, but for the second and the third attempt, there is no guarantee from any logistics partner. Am I wrong somewhere?
It's dependent on your response. It's dependent on
No. Response to आपका direct, it's like push and pull, right? The India management is going, everything is going. There was a first attempt made. So even in the contract terms, you will say कि the first attempt in zone A, B, C, D will be made in certain number of hours or days, right? Now let's say it happens to fall into NDR, first NDR attempt हो गया. उसके बाद जो second या third attempt है, उसकी guarantee कि ये अगले 24 घंटे में हो जाएगा या अगले 48 घंटे में हो जाएगा, ये है या नहीं है, क्योंकि ये हमारे को तो नहीं है और हमें तो सब मना कर चुके हैं.
The solution that Anubhav is mentioning is actually it solves for this directly. So if the NDR management now happens through WhatsApp, customer sends it to us directly, instead of sending it back that particular shipment back into the network, it sticks there with that FE in its hand. And the FE gets an instruction from the TL to go reattempt right there. So if the reattempt failed in the first attempt of the day, and we get a response right there from your consignee directly now, not even you as a brand, so no two touch points, right? From the consignee directly, it gets attempted in the second half. So that's the kind of change we've seen in the past, I would say 6-7 months that since we've activated the
I'd really like to connect with you on this for our brand.
Absolutely.
Because as far as passing on the comment is concerned, it's very quick. But the delivery or reattempting happening on the same day is something I've not seen. And secondly, second attempt के लिए no one promises. So the more you delay reaching the customer, RTO बढ़ता है. और जब first time में deliver हो जाता है, तो RTO कम हो जाता है. That is the main reason वहाँ पे आ जाता है. मतलब बाकी 1% छोड़ दो, वो fake order है या client ने अपना मन बदल लिया, वो 1% होगा, उसको हम नहीं कर सकते. But for some, where they say कि बहुत late आया या वहाँ पे that number goes up. So that is, if you say that at that time, if I say and the FE will go back and deliver it, I mean nothing like it. I mean, I'd be happy to explore that, right? But it's so that even when you are drafting the contracts directly with you guys or any other logistics partner out there, the time frame which you guys could commit, कि अगर first attempt fail भी होता है, तो second attempt would take place in these many number of hours and third. But that does not happen. Now, I don't know what the logic behind is. Probably you could explain better. But I think if that is again given, probably things would improve to a bit. Not as much as if the first attempt is absolutely done.
Yeah, maybe I think I'll try to cover the RTO problem. Obviously, RTO is a big problem, and we had written a blog also some time back that how you can reduce the RTO. And obviously, I mean, from a cost perspective, RTO is a big problem, because it not only shaves away the top line that you're doing, it also incurs the logistics cost and a dissatisfied customer and so on and so forth, right? And it's a function of lot many things, whether it's a COD order or a tier 3, tier 4 order and so on and so forth, right? So there are lot many reasons. We spoke about that. When it comes to India, right, generally what we do is once we get an instruction from you, then you would have either spoken to the customer or customer would have said something on WhatsApp that, hey, I want this order to be delivered, right? The next attempt would be made in the next cycle. This next cycle could be either in the same day, let's say if I have attempted the first one in the first half, and if I am doing a second round, it does not happen in lot many centers, but in the metros generally happens. It will go in the second one, or at least it will go in the next one, right, which is the next day, right? Most of the 3P companies, including Delhivery, do typically 3 attempts for one order. Many a cases we do, let's say if we get a request from you, we do a 4th, 5th also. But typically we do 3, right? So in that it gets delivered. But to answer the bigger elephant of RTO in the room, right? There are many other things as a brand that can be done. And as Anubhav also mentioned that there are many products that are there in the market and we also have that. So in the journey of last about 11 years, we have delivered say more than 2 billion shipments, right? So what it means is we have almost touched each and every door multiple times wherever you have e-commerce customer, right? So we have the information in our data set that where the customers are, what is the RTO percentage that can come from that, and very very soon we will be externalizing this product which is RTO predictor. What it can do is once a customer places an order at your platform, you will get a score from us at the time of checkout itself. And this is something that obviously all the brands should try to, who are looking to reduce the RTO. If the score is high, you can define some of those business logics that if the score is really very high, you can call the customer. So for example, what you said is, yours is a premium category, you can afford to call each and every customer because your order volume is low, your ASP is higher, you can afford that. But where the ASP is lower in case of maybe Aditya or Drishti, right? You can filter those out and say that okay, only 10% of the customers are highly risky. Let me call these guys and then say that whether you want this or not. And then there you can define multiple logics saying that hey, you have ordered something on COD, do you want it to convert to prepaid or something like that, right? So this is something which is going to help any brand's journey. That's number one. The other thing you should also look at is whenever the order comes, whether the address is right, wrong, junk. Those are the kinds of softwares that are available in the market. We also, we have that product called AdFix. What it does is it parses the address and then clearly says that whether the address is right or not. That means that whether you are going to deliver it to a junk customer or maybe a fraudulent customer or maybe a customer who has a bad behavior, or you are going to deliver it to the right customer. So what we are trying to solve it, and we do acknowledge that RTO is one of the problems which the industry is facing. We are trying to solve it through some of these tech interventions, which is be the RTO predictor, which gives you the right and then flexibility to take the right decisions in terms of what you want to do with that customer. Have the right addresses, don't misroute it, take the right actions at the time of whether it's COD to prepaid conversion, or just confirm with the customer whether you want this order or not, or maybe in the data set, in the history, what is the history of that customer. Right? So these are some of the things which probably, obviously, this will take the next leap in terms of improving the RTO. But yes, I think one-to-one complaints that delivery has lower, higher, whatever it is, we can surely discuss and try to we will surely do this. But for the overall larger audience, I think these are some of the things you should be evaluating when you are talking to your LSP, whosoever it is, whether you are doing some of these things, because now the industry has started doing that to take the next leap in terms of reducing that.
I was wondering if you have insights for brands, or what do you say why RTOs are happening? For example, is there anything which the last mile delivery partners or field executives have, or you per se from your data, of why RTOs happen, irrespective of whatever industry it is? COD is one thing, or maybe particular pin codes or tier 4, tier 3, but these are common facts known to all of us. Any other insights which we should be taking from you guys?
Again, it's like brand specific, it's industry or category specific, right? In apparel category, largely the RTOs happen until unless if there is a quality issue, it's mostly dependent on the size issue, right? Or
That's not RTO, no? That's not RTO.
no, I'm saying from a category point of view, once the order is not delivered, till then also, I mean, we've also been doing dipstick of the customer, so they tend to give these kind of reasons. While that delivery might not happen, so from a dipstick point of view, because we keep on doing our customer service team, they keep on doing all these dipsticks. You are right that those deliveries are not happening. Those are returns, not RTO per se. Those are reverse pickups, right? But these are the dipsticks that some of the experiences which I tend to which I'm tending to share. And one big factor is the speed factor, right? Like you also touched upon the speed factor, that the order was expected to come in 3 days, or they've gone offline and they could not wait. Some urgency was there, so that's another big factor from a speed point of view. And that's where I wanted to change the gears and move to the next topic as well from a speed point of view, because same day delivery, next day delivery, that's also a very, very fat word which every one of us have been hearing in specific, no, I mean all the brands, because Amazon is talking and they are able to do it also, right? They are doing it also.
Our business is instant delivery. You can order 0.7 minutes and we are doing it. So we have picked up Zippo as one of our good partners. For all our gifting, we have moved our gifting to Zippo because we realize people buy gift for a reason. And when it comes late, we'll return it back.
You must be keeping your inventory with you, right?
They buy it. So as I said, we are B2B2C. So Zepto for us, Zepto or Blinkit also, let's say Blinkit is still small for us, but Zepto is a large player for us. And all our gifting is through them. So even if like Mother's Day, we have a big event happening with them where people, they'll remember, okay, I have to send something to my mom. At a click of a button, 7 minutes you can do. Forget about that, our whole B2B deal. So we have a lot of customers who order in bulk from us, sitting somebody in Bangalore. We have our sets with them. We just press the button saying that it has to be delivered to, let's say, HP, or it has to deliver to, let's say, delivery office. Tomorrow you decide to buy Soulflower gifts. It will be there. Till the time you speak to me and you have to speak to my team and you keep the phone, it will be there. So I think logistics as such is changing so much. And I think it just depends how do we hop on to other things and move on. Like we are working with ONDC, Shirish and all, where we are saying we want to get all our logistics on blockchain, because we are already on blockchain at backend, because we produce our own thing. So not only traceability, but actually if tomorrow I take his warehouses, I can link all that, and from where I need to push my B2B2C will all depend on the whole technology which is already provided free of cost. So it just I plug in my tech and get it done from there.
I mean, taking cue from a regional warehouses or stocking close to your customers, we have different people from different categories sitting over here. So how important do you foresee this thing, like stocking closer to your customers, faster deliveries, maybe same day delivery, next day deliveries, looking at that most of you are working in multiple hundreds and thousands of SKUs. Some of you would be having even thousands of SKUs. Like you said that there are different sizes of SKUs. So how do you tend to move to this kind of a model, or do you think that it is just a psyche which is playing on in the customer's mind? It is not that important a factor, or the country is not ready to that extent, because you are saying that you're stocking in Zepto, but is it like catering to 70-80% of your SKUs, or only a limited set of SKUs are there?
So for us, it's very clear what SKU people needed right away. It's like when I'm hungry, I want to eat a pizza, that time it comes, it's great. But if you have a dal makhani and something, then I might not eat that pizza, right? And that's where RTOs happen. So the idea is very clear. So you distribute your goods or your SKUs, what can be returned back, what will be consumed in any way, what will be like a thing which people might still take it up if even if it is delayed by 5 days. So that is okay. And we use air majorly. We don't use surface anywhere, which we understood that she rightly said that people don't want to delay their getting of the goods at their own homes. So I think that's very important. That's it. And I think the last mile tracking which is there, which Delhivery has a good IT system. I've seen that. Loadart is also there to an extent, but I see you and Amazon have some very fantastic system there.
To answer your question, the importance of faster. That's one of the key decision-making criteria as well for the consumers, and we will keep doing a lot of lipsticks, and somebody would buy on an Amazon versus a D2C just because of that. Right, so there comes my question as well. We have to replicate our inventory in multiple places. We work with aggregators and it's variabilized as well. The warehouse basic, you can have a peaks and troughs and you can do it. But even then you are putting working capital investment, inventory cost is going in. Are there any solutions available with you folks where you work with brands and suggest how to optimize inventory? We try to do that at our end, but because the core of the brand is to grow business. So inevitably, when business comes, all these take a backseat and they don't get that due attention. So when it comes to replicating inventory or spreading yourself thin across, is there anything available from a technology standpoint or even otherwise? Is there, if you can share some insights there?
I'll take this one, sir. See, so as you mentioned that, once you replicate the inventory at multiple locations, right? So obviously in your system the levels of inventory is going to go high because it comes with that kind of forecasting accuracy and so on and so forth. Regional utilizations and all of those things play a role. To answer your question really very straight, we do have software tools which can help you predict that what inventory you should be keeping where. Very easy and initial thumb rules could be, as you also mentioned, that you identify your either fast movers you call it, or hero SKUs you call it, A class, B class, C class SKUs you call it. You figure out that in what geography you are selling what. You will be having a centralized warehouse, mother warehouse kind, where you will be keeping larger set of your inventory. But you can forward deploy some of the inventory in smaller warehouses and be closer to the customer. That will reduce your time to customer, and obviously this will have a kind of impact on your cost, on your RTOs and so on.
Sorry to interrupt, but if you keep like few hero SKUs in certain regions, and if you get an order of the long tail SKUs, तो फिर दो बार ship होते हैं कि how does, I mean,
इसमें भी दो use cases आते हैं. There is one use case wherein you have to deliver the full basket, which generally happens in e-pharma. Right? E-pharma में what happens? आपको अगर 10 different medicines order आए हैं, generally you will ship all the 10 in one.
How do you guys do it? Let's say.
So what we do is we split the orders. Right? So we split the orders
multiple
to multiple deliveries. It can happen that way.
And the customer is charged how? On the shipment weight
on the
of that delivery.
on the shipments, right? So you have both the logics, right? Basis whatever you define as a business unit, right? And then again, this becomes a part of the analysis. That generally, if the combo orders, these are the SKUs which are sold together, or maybe these are the SKUs which are generally sold in a certain purchase. Those are part of the analysis. So we do 2 or 3 things. We recently acquired a company called Algorithm, which helps do all of these analysis. They are more of demand and supply planning kind of tool, which takes your historical sales data into account, regional data, and then so on and so forth, and then gives you a predictive tool which tells you that what SKU should be placed where to get optimum level of inventory, reduce the inventory, carrying cost, working capitals, and so on and so forth. But again, I mean, even you do all of these analysis, you will end up, increasing your working capital by a bit, right? But then again, coming to your question, whether you will split the order, if you are splitting the order, then again, I mean, there is a chance of, your logistics cost going a little higher, because if it is under 500 gram, both the orders shipped from one location could be less than 500 gram, but if you are shipping from 2 different locations, this will be both less than 500 gram, less than 500 gram too, you will be incurring more cost, right? So these are the things that takes all of those things into consideration and comes to an optimal answer that what exactly you should be doing. Right? It depends on how many number of SKUs you have, what is the inventory levels that you are going to have. So yeah, I mean, this
this tool is already embedded into your platform, or it's getting.
No. So it's readily available with us. It's just that we take these requests, or maybe whenever there is a requirement that how do we do it? We plug this in, we bring this team into the picture. It's not a logistics team will be answering this question. We bring that.
It's a separate service.
Yeah. Not a separate service. We bring that expertise, they do the analysis, they tell you, then post that it's embedded.
The reason I asked was, whatever points you mentioned from an analysis perspective, when we do that, but it's manual, right? It's done Excel sheets, it's done by people, and it takes its own time. But if there is something like this available,
that's where this software.
I think taking cue from here, what Abhijit also mentioned, and adding omni-channel bit to it, right? So, so we work with many traditional brands which were like traditional offline brands, like Mr. Rajesh is also here. So from an Ink 5 point of view, while we are not working with Ink 5 directly per se, but yeah, many brands, Pantaloons, Shoppers Shops of the world, who are traditional brands who have all those large format stores. So where all this stocking closer to your customer, all this helps a lot, right? Because they are not only stores in themselves, they are their own warehouses, right? So that's where all these algorithms, like you also mentioned, that in case there is an order which is not there in a particular store, so how does the customer get that order? How do the store ensure that the customer doesn't go without doing the transaction? So over here, yeah, exactly. So I was coming to the endless aisle concept only. So how, for example, I'll share a use case of Bata as well over here. So if you go to a Bata store, if you lately visited, while some of you might not visit because you are in a similar category, but yeah, if you lately visit that store, so if you choose a shoe and if there is no size of that shoe available, maybe if you are using a 9 number shoe and there is an 8 available, so they will ensure that in 48 hours they will deliver it to your doorstep, or you can collect. Yes, exactly. So that's how the integration has been done with all the stores. So if they might be having 500 stores across the country, they have integrated with 200 top stores. Where it is easy for us as well. Maybe, like you mentioned, Batinda say it is not easy to pick up and deliver it to Raipur. It is easier to pick up from Ludhiana and deliver to, yeah, exactly. So that's where exactly. So that's where
that we've integrated and it's absolutely helping us.
Exactly. So with many of the brands sitting over here now having a dominant online presence, like you also mentioned that you are moving into offline domain as well. So how do we ensure that there is an O2O kind of a model which keeps the customer engaged, whether it is from an offline point of view, whether it is an online point of view? Yeah, I'm saying. Correct. So ultimately,
General trade, right? Yeah. GT, we work with a lot of GT.
Correct. So with
but
this
GT won't be online, right? तो लाला लोग कभी समझेंगे कितना भी उनको
but from own store point of view, like we're seeing Mama, Boats of the world having their own stores, getting a dominant D2C brand, getting into offline mode. So all these integrations, all these algorithms are helping a lot set up a endless ecosystem in this entire D2C space.
In terms of capability for the store staff to manage this, brand like Anubhav has about 65 odd videos now. What's the ease of operation? Because time and again there's a lot of resistance. It comes in saying, ye ek aur task aa gaya, how do I manage this? There's a lot of inhibition to adopt. But the solution, how easy is it to use? One part is the integration part where one goes inventory is exposed to the other, and that happens. But for the store to manage this, how is it?
Again, over here I'll pick a use case of maybe Zara for that matter, right? Zara, they're mostly present in all the premium malls, and a delivery person in a premium mall like an Ambience Mall or a mall of Noida, all those places, they would not be allowed beyond a certain cut-off time, right? So that's how the staff is positioned over there, that there are orders which would be going to that store. This is the availability of stock in that store, and the packaging and everything would happen maybe a previous night, and then there is a cutoff in the next morning. So before 10 AM, if I am able to visit the Saket Mall or Ambience Mall, then only I'll be able to pick it up and then move through my network. Otherwise, this is not allowed. So that's how the store staff and everything is planned, that there are 2-3 folks who come before 10 AM who are able to hand over to the LSPs, because beyond that it is not possible. Similarly, from a health card point of view, health card is also having a very, very strong O2O kind of a model, and they are also present in high street malls, all these malls and all. So there also we follow a similar model. There are morning cutoffs which we tend to follow, and that's how the beat and everything is planned with all these models. don't give a hourly kind of a commitment, right? So if you see in this industry, there are no slot-based B2C deliveries per se. You will, apart from Amazon, you will not see that your delivery happens from 11 to 3. It would be that your delivery happens on 12th of May. So that's the turnaround time, that's the tags, those are the templates that we create basis the consumer requirement. And you have.
Is there possible, like, maybe not
Yes. So there is
Absolutely. There are stages from pickup to manifestation to transit. I understand where you are coming from, that in the transit journey, because it's a long journey, that's the mid-mile is the longest journey and it has the highest cost as well. So in the mid-mile journey, if the truck moves out from Rajasthan, from your case, and if it has to reach maybe Chennai, so you need to know that Rajasthan se Gujarat aa gaya, Gujarat se Maharashtra aa gaya. In that transit duration, you need to maybe definitely that's something. There are certain companies which are working specifically in this fleet management piece, in these kind of models only. There's a wheels eye, there's a fleeto kind of a. So if those integrations, like our organization is all into acquisitions and integrations, so if we are getting into those integrations, that's not very far off what I mean. Yeah. Great. I mean, it's been a great session. I would say.
How to negotiate with you for better price? That you can tell us offline. So that is offline. That is offline.
That's one-on-one. I mean, like she is having high RTO problem. Maybe.
No, I'm very high.
Because you are happy customer, that's the problem. We are not yet your customers, so you have to make sure that you also become our customer.
No, absolutely.
So you're working directly with them?
No, we work with both.
Okay. See, they are also working with them.
No,
Because we have been doing business with them last like 20 years now. So
Yeah, but they're new age, they're nice.
they are nice. There is no
thank you for being a devil's advocate. Thank you so much. I mean, we'll definitely chat a lot offline. Again, thank you so much. Thank you everyone. It's been a great session, some great learnings. Obviously, RTO, I understand it's a pain area for every one of us sitting over here. So with the evolution of new 2-3 products that are coming in, I'm sure we'll be able to bring it down for most of you sitting over here. And stocking closer to your customers, all those regional warehouses, so some of the great learnings and volumetric weight. And I know I've been getting feedback from my team, the challenges that they also had while negotiating with you, the 5%, 6% factor that you always were too perturbed on. So we'll try and focus on that as well. So all the best to everyone. Any last words, any last feedbacks for us to know? Anything?
Data principle, that's what
Oh yes, we are now running short of time.
No, I'll speak to separately.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone. Thank you.